Ah, yes. The night. But let's be a little more attentive, for pity's sake, otherwise we'll never get anywhere. Sky. Would you look at the sky, pig? All right, that's enough. What is there so extraordinary about it? Qua sky. It is pale and luminous, like any sky at this hour of the day. In these latitudes, when the weather is fine. An hour ago, roughly, after having poured forth since, say, 10 o'clock in the morning, tirelessly torrents of red and white light began to lose their effulgence, to grow pale, even paler, even paler, until it comes to rest. But, behind this veil of gentleness and peace, night is charging and will burst upon us. Just like that. Just when we least expect it. That's how it is on this cold bitch of an earth.
That's why GNAT is now our safe shelter for the zombie apocalypse, and that's why we're wearing the same clothes as we were weeks and weeks ago.
He just likes talking about his lips.
Or we filmed this whole two-part show in one day. That's the other explanation. There's no zombies. You're fine. You can leave your house.
Nobody will notice.
Second half of our director's show. You joined us last time and you loved it, and you came back for more, and more we will give you.
I loved it.
Theater Beat. Chris is your host again this evening. He is fantastic. He's taking the reins. He's asking these four directors some personal questions, and they get passionate, and you are going to enjoy the experience.
And I thank you kindly.
And I'm Vanessa Beattie, and this is Chris Barlow for Theater Beat. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. We are at the Directors Roundtable, Part 2, and we got to know everybody a little bit and learned a little about directing the last time. And I'd like to start off with another kind of personal question. Mona and everyone, is there a play or movie that inspired you, maybe at an early age, that continues to inspire you and influences your work somewhat?
You're asking an old person to remember that. Just kidding.
You're not much, you're as old as me.
All About Eve.
All About
It's
Eve.
going to be a bumpy night. Yes. That always keeps coming back to me. I
that's
don't really
great.
know why, but it's a wonderful line.
Has that been done on stage, or is it exclusively a movie?
There's a musical version
A
called
Yeah.
Applause.
Huh.
I think it started as a movie.
Yeah?
I mean, a movie about the stage, but anyway, I think it started as a movie.
Well, and Erica, if you came from a very theatrical background, there must have been an awful lot to choose from. Is there anything that stands out?
Yes. When I was in high school, Merce Cunningham, John Cage, and Rauschenberg were guests at the Barrett College Lake Forest College, where I grew up. And I went to that performance, and I was, you know, a young, impressionable dancer, musician, and it completely shifted everything in my life. My whole outlook, because I grew up with very traditional, my mother's European, everything was very traditional, which I love. I honor that, I treasure that. But that work that I saw, among many, many other wonderful, wonderful plays and operas. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate. I've seen a lot. But that one particular performance was cathartic. And I realized that theater could be cathartic. And yes, I would say that it was extremely inspiring to me. And what a challenge. You know, what a challenge to make work that moves people and reminds us of so much more than, you know, what is on television and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So live theater has tremendous power.
Gary, anything in your...
Well, for me, it wasn't until I stepped onto the stage. So for me, the inspiration was Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. And then that just really inspired. Then since I'm speaking of movies, the one movie that has, to the core sense of my being, is Moby Dick. So between those two juxtaposed films, they just did something deep inside me that I had to put it somewhere. And fortunately, I put it to the stage, which is where I feel that is truly the actor's medium. All the others, including television and film, they become a product of others. But the theater is the one pure place where, for the sake of, for us who are directors, to be able to then organically work with the actors, directors working with the actors, and then have them take control of it. That is to me the ultimate. So,
Jeffrey.
Too many to mention, but one vivid memory I have is going with my grandparents as a child to the Metropolitan Opera and seeing Victoria de Los Angeles do Madame Butterfly, and I was transfixed. The whole being brought into another culture and another realm was. I said, yeah, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
Well, and it's really different to have a play sung to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an extra fascination. You've all seen many plays. Do you derive anything from other directors by seeing their work?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
You admire their stagecraft. You admire what they can do. I mean, I've seen Gary's work out in Pulteney, and just can sit there in admiration and say, "Oh, wow, you know, great."
that's very kind of you. Thank you.
And also steal everything that you possibly
True.
can.
Absolutely.
That is so. How honest of you to say that.
Why not? It's
That's
the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with sets. I go around to all the different theaters and I say, ooh, I think I could try that. Why not? That would work. Or we could do it better. You know, you definitely try to use everything. And I think everybody uses from everyone else.
That's good.
Yeah, I think we're all learning and, you know, learning from each other all the time. And when you see a great theater production, you know that the director had a very clear vision and knew how to get those particular actors to do that. And yeah, when it works, it works. So.
Well, we're going to shift gears a little bit. I want to know how you reel in actors that have very strong personalities and have very strong opinions as to the character that they're playing? How do you get them to share your vision? What do you think?
You work with the energy. There have been a few times, not too many, where there can be an agitation between myself and an actor. As I said, I work energetically, so I find a way, if there is tension, I use that to help propel the work that we're doing on the stage. And I guess that's my best. I have said a few times to an actor, either you're going to open up and really be a part of what we're doing, or perhaps you don't want to be in this production. So there's been very infrequently that. Most of the time, it's the opposite, I find, which is one of the things I would really like to talk about, is the sense that I find that most actors don't realize what really goes into acting, and they end up just being themselves on the stage. And trying to pull out not only a sense of emotion, but a sense of acting. They're very much similar, but they're very different. And I guess I want to say my 2 cents now is that I've been doing Shakespeare on Main Street for 10 years, and just as my last show went up, sitting down and watching it, it instantly hit me. As much as I'm very pleased with the work, I instantly saw what I was not pleased with, and I instantly said to myself, from here on in, I will, short of demanding, but I'm putting it out on the airwaves and sharing it with you, that I feel that every theatrical institution needs to take a strong stance that all their actors, if they are deciding to do this more than twice, shall we say, that they have a responsibility to hone their craft. You used that word before. The thing of what I find is there's in many of the productions that they'll have, some of the leads are very good, but the rest of the show, the actors are people who have just been doing this for years, and I feel, and this I feel very strongly about, and I certainly, when I audition, I will ask, have you had training? Would you be would you be willing to go for training? Now, I'm certainly, my bag is Shakespeare, but I also, for any actors that work with me, I would strongly urge them also to go and get coaching from other professionals. So.
Yeah, I mean, Othello, I mean, that's a deep, dark place where an actor has to go and pull that out to play that part.
Stay tuned, I'm doing it next year.
You are? Wow. Have you started casting?
Yes.
Wow.
I have Othello.
You have Othello.
He's coming from Burlington.
Well, congratulations.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's that's a part of acting that a lot of people just don't have, that deep dark place that they can look into and pull out. How do you get them to find that place, or is it all comes back to the training?
That's part of the training.
That's part of the training.
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, you like you said, Gary. You can. Sure, you can direct people, and they just sort of come in. They do parts, but they're always themselves. I totally agree with you. If you do it, there should be some commitment to training. With the dancers that I work with them probably all year, giving them at least one class a week, which is hardly nothing. Which is hardly nothing. But I can't take somebody that has not made that commitment to studying for at least 1 year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and because there is where a production blooms, and people feel really happy to be in it because they've invested that time and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So, yeah, it's different if you're working with professionals or amateurs. And that's not to say that people who don't have training don't bring a whole lot, but having some training helps. And make a commitment to that. You know, this is what I want to do. I should get some acting lessons. Singing, singing.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. And how could you possibly bring in a pit band if they can't be have never played the instrument? I mean, they have to be playing to be able to read music, to carry out the parts in the
To make the whole
yeah,
thing
to
work.
make the whole thing work.
There are factors that impinge on your work: budgets, equity rules, time. If you could magically alter any one of those things or anything else that I didn't mention magically, what would it be?
Well, sometimes it's good to work within constraints because that pressure inspires you.
Gives you the oomph.
Yes. But probably I'd say time because
Time is
that's
big.
where
Time is
because there's always something that comes up.
Yeah.
But this is magical, you know. You're asking if we can change it magically
Magic,
to save
yeah.
time. Otherwise, the only thing you can do is preparation and planning, and
You need to be very well prepared.
keep on. You prepare, you organize, so that when you expect that something, a crisis, is going to come up, so you can deal with it.
But, you know, all of the above is the answer to your question.
Yeah.
We would love to have more money. We would love to have more access to
More
to
awareness.
good acting, much more awareness and more public support.
More
and,
public support. That's
and
all
more time.
awareness. It's like in Europe. I'm sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
no, please.
You know, there's a whole different take on theater. You know, people. So, I don't know. I probably shouldn't go there, but yeah, awareness is a big part of it because there, all of the others would probably fall into place. You know, making the commitment to the production, financial support, and whatever else you mentioned. Time. Yeah.
It's difficult when you're working in community theater because everyone has another life.
Right.
Even
Or two or three.
Or two or three.
Yeah.
And you're always going to end up with something, oh, I can't be here this night because I have to do something with my children. And of course, that's, you know.
Well, how do you
going to
overcome those difficulties? Just
You row with the punches.
Well, I want to, yes, and I want to say that I get in there into the ring and make the punches. And what I mean by that is that all what you say is true in time, you know, with being community theater, the amount of time that you have with the actor. For me, it's about creating the crucible, not in the theatrical play, but as in a transformative space. To me, and I do this every time when I start directing, I draw a line and I say, on this side is your everyday life. And when you cross this line, you need to give yourself permission to be other. And this is what I find that has got me heated, where a lot of the theater that I see in our area, and I'll include my own to a certain extent, that we have our cultural veneer. And what I see is people coming across from their everyday life and stepping onto the stage, and they're just bringing their everyday life up onto the stage. And to me, it's not about reflecting what life is, particularly in this culture, because I find it is very constricted. And the stage is the one place where the sense of being something other, and that is where that any actors, my reputation's somewhat gotten out there. If you come to be in one of my plays, know that your envelope is going to be pushed, because I don't want my actor or actors to just come and do what comes naturally in terms of what they're doing on the other side of that line. So the little time that I have with them, they know that this for that little time, we're going to really eke something out that is precious, that is powerful, that is something more than they thought they were capable of being. And if I can't get that, then I would leave theater.
And it has to be repeatable.
Well, if you get them there where they finally feel something, I mean, you push past all of their critics, all the guards of like, what are people going to think about me if I do this or say it this way, or if I move my body this way? You got to.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
That's hard.
But that's part of the commitment to the craft, you know, and yeah.
No one said it was going to be easy.
No one
Well,
said
you
it
want it
was
to be
gonna
great.
be
You want it to be great.
No
And I
one
think
said
it
was
is
gonna be-
repeatable. You know, if an actor reaches that then what happens is beyond repeatable. They keep on getting better each time because now they're doing it on their own.
But a good director, though, does have to stay on top of the situation. I mean, unless you're dealing with, professional actors that work couple of months or weeks, put up a show, and then the director and choreographer go home. There's a stage manager there. The producers are keeping an eye on the director might come back. But those are long runs. But you have a responsibility to stay on with your people. You can't let up on them at all. I don't think so.
Well, as established directors, do you, is there any part of your shows that stand out, that would stand out from other people's, do you think? A bit of you that
Well, I'm going
makes
to
you
say
special?
yeah, okay, I'll be special. No, the sense of risking that, and after seeing this last production that I did, which was a comedy of errors set in the Roaring '20s, again, that sitting down there, I said, I must now demand more, that they risk more, to get away from the everyday sense of being, to bring it to something that we would want to rise to. So that, I like to think that when people come and see my production, that they see that there is, and also the one thing is the physicality of how I direct is more than usual, I would say. And of course, my particular bias is Shakespeare. To me, the text is I'm always reaching to try and be as good as I possibly can with my actors. So.
Sometimes Shakespeare's like 3D chess. It's,
Ooh, well said. I like that.
Well,
Yeah, it's good.
but sometimes it's hard to get,
And it's worth continuing to stretch for them.
Yeah.
I have a bookcase of volumes and volumes of every year there are more books scholarly written and investigated to understand the genius of this man's work, and I've immersed myself and dedicated myself for over the last 15 years with it.
And we're glad you did.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Gary, you did touch on this a little bit, but has anyone experienced directing in film of any kind, or at least experimenting with film?
Erica uses film.
I use film, so I make my own films, but I have not directed a film, no.
Well, if you do your own film, is there any difference between?
Well, my films are like art films, so it's, I'm creating an element, a visual element that becomes a very significant partner in telling my story. So it's not like I have film actors, speaking. The movement is all live. The film is it's kind of hard to describe because each piece is different. But you think of it as a soundscape. You have sound that creates sound, then you have a visual, and then you have live physical theater going on, and they are layered, juxtaposed, however, collaged together. So
Different set of rules.
it's a very different set of
Yeah.
rules.
I have a concept for a show that I'd like to do in the future that has been going around in my mind, that it's a particular show, and part of that would be multimedia, where there would be film created that reflect what in the show are flashback sequences, but have them be on film playing against the live acting. So.
Any other thoughts about the future? About what you like to charge into?
Oh well, that's up to I can make proposals, but it's up to the theater board to accept them, and then we can go forward. And but no, if you're a director, you're always working ideas. You've always got something going on in there.
The wheels are always turning.
You hope that sometimes it's focused towards the show you're working on currently, but not always. You can go off and think about some, wow, wouldn't that be neat to do?
And Gary, we know you're going to be doing Othello. Any other?
Well, I'm expanding after 10 years of being just more or less in Pulteney. We're expanding now. We've begun negotiating to be at the theater in Brandon, and we're seeking to bring our show to here to Manchester. And I'm hoping to bring back my junior company, which I had for a few years. And if I do that, they'll do Richard II. They'll stay in Pulteney, and my senior company will start in Pulteney, but then travel to Brandon and to Manchester, and hopefully in the future to Middlebury.
Wow, so you're directing young people too?
I have been, yes. I had a junior company.
Richard II, huh? We are amazed. Erica, the future. What do you think?
Oh, I am working on a show right now that is will be at Hubbard Hall on October 5th. My husband and I and an ensemble. There's a piece that we're creating in a workshop.
And we'll be at Dorset Playhouse
And
on
then
October
we'll be
26th.
at Dorset Playhouse on October 26th. So it's kind of a little mini tour. We were just at Green Mountain College. So yeah.
And the old Vic.
I am actually what I'm doing is bringing together a consortium of Vermont choreographers to Castleton College in April. So I have invited, because I work all over the state, so I've gotten to know a lot of dancers and choreographers and directors, so it's been interesting. But so that's my next project. But I'm always working on new work. Always working. And then taking gigs with other directors where, so someday I might direct a show, a traditional scripted show.
Maybe
It'd be
Hubbard
fun.
Hall.
It
Yeah.
would be fun. It would be fun, maybe. I don't know.
And Mona.
Kind of a free spirit.
Well, my future right now is my present. I'm not directing anything right now, but I am working on the set, a design team for Dorset Players' Private Lives. Just happened to have a mini poster right here. We open October 11th at the Dorset Playhouse. So I have been totally engrossed in that set. It's a big set. It's 2 sets in one. It's very, very complicated. I do hope to direct again, may make a presentation for something possible for next year.
Nice. Would it be all right with folks if we, included websites at the end of the show so people could look you up?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
I will be also directing the spring musical this year for this season, 2014, in May, which will be She Loves Me, which is a musical by Sheldon Harnick and Jerry Bach, same composers of Fiddler on the Roof and The Apple Tree. And it's a very charming period piece, which will be a lot of fun. And that's at the Dorset Playhouse as well.
Well, thank you all very, very much. I love this Directors Roundtable. You all turned me on. And we at Theater Beat, thank you very much for coming, and we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for
We'll be
inviting
back.
us. Thank you.
Well, that was amazing. I learned so much in that segment.
I did too. They are passionate about theater. I loved having their opinions. I loved how you managed 4 people. That's a lot. Controlled the room, the table. It was fantastic, and we learned so much about how much goes into directing a show, the passion that you have to have for theater and for your own vision. I was fascinated.
The question is, though, did I ask them or did they direct me?
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll have to watch it like you guys are watching it. And we thank you for coming. That was the end of our second part of the Director Show. Stay tuned for more 2-part shows because I think we might be onto something here at Theater Beat.
This fun work, yeah?
Yeah, with Chris Barlow.
And Vanessa Beattie.
I used to be on the outside looking in, but now I be on the inside looking out. Now I be at the center of the storm. Everything swirl around me from trash can to video cam. I'd be my own ashram. Fools should be studying with me if only they knew. But what they see as they clip-clop by be just a bundle of rags. But that's only there for outside show. That's where I've been, not where I be now. For I be a man who can take all the tough this city can toss out. From morning to night I be pulling my blanket around me to ward off the hostile stares and glares from the cold light of morning to the night of despair, where I prove what I be under a moon gone blood red.